Counter-Strike for a living for 8 years. I've been on the desk for some of the biggest events for 5 years. I know nothing about Counter-Strike, but then again, neither does Thorin. Welcome to his YouTube channel.
Right, I'm here for another episode of Reflections, and my guest for this one is going to be Kapio, who is a really old school German Counter-Strike player. Has had a very interesting career. He's now actually coaching in VALORANT. Maybe we'll get to that at the end of the interview. Right, Kapio, where I want to start in your career is this. It's a question actually that I only ask of people in the German scene, which is I always tell people, I actually think Germany, even though there's all those weird political problems that so Counter-Strike and shooter games can't be recognised. The actual like infrastructure of tournaments with EPS Germany and stuff was amazing back in the day. Like as soon as those started, basically you could have like a career just being a really good German pro. There was something to aim for. Famously, if you get to like the LAN finals where the top 4 teams would go, and you do an upset. That's how you get in the top teams. It actually was quite a cool like little scene in that sense. And so one thing I want to ask was there'd already been some of these things set up around the time you came into the scene. So what was your entry point into like pro Counter-Strike? Like, were you someone who could see it could be like a career and you were trying to go for that? Were you just a good player? What was your angle?
I started from down there pretty much. I worked my way up. I was like, I think 2004 or 5 in Team Germany, which was important for me. And then I don't know. It was always my passion. Money was not something I was so much interested in. I wanted to earn money because I wanted to live from competition. But yeah, I think it was the most important step was going to alternate aTTaX, and then I had like a breakthrough year. And then mouz came, and then it was clear. Yes, this is your job now. You're doing it for your life, pretty much, and yes.
Well, I've actually got a little story for you, which is you won't know this angle, no one will actually, which is the first time I ever saw you play and I actually heard your name, because I used to follow like the German scene in EPS, but like I say, I wait for like the LAN finals, whoever makes it there, that's why I would scout people. I didn't give a fuck about it was like the 9th best team. So it was when you actually played at the beginning in that 64 AMD team, where the only other player people probably know is maybe Flex, like he was another guy that became good later. And basically what happened was, at the time, this will sound weird, but I was actually the roommate, I was living in Finland with Navid, the old Finnish player, right, who at the time played in that team, Destination Skyline. And this is the funny part of the story, right? Because his team at the CPL Summer, which is a month or two before this story I'm going to tell, they'd come like 4th place or something, mate. And, you know, that was considered like the World Championship of Counter-Strike. So they were all thinking like, we're the shit, you know, like, okay, maybe like SK or someone would beat us, but like, you know, we're pretty fucking good. And so what they did, and I thought this was genius, was in the time between that CPL and the next one, because it used to be like roughly, 4 or 5 months or something, it was like seasonal, you know, they decided, right, since we're good, but we maybe wouldn't win everything, what we'll do, and this is quite a clever idea, is we'll attend all the like small and medium lands that people like SK don't go to because they wait for the big World Championship. And what we'll do is we'll go there, and every time it's like 10,000 euros for first place, we'll just go, we'll be the best team, we'll win the 10,000 euros, go back to Finland. And it worked a bunch of times. They went to a bunch of these tournaments, one in like Riga, another one. And I remember they went to this tournament. It was the Invex Euro Cyber Cup is what it was called. And because I was like his roommate, I was like watching the games on HLTV and I was looking at all these teams. And the funny thing is, there was 2 teams in this tournament that finished ahead of Destination Skyline. There was your team and then the other one was Pentagram. Right? The joke is the Pentagram one at least later made sense because those guys became like the greatest legends ever, won all this. It was Neo and Taz, etc. But because I didn't think any of these teams were that good, they all looked like medium, you know, we'd call them now tier 2 teams in Counter-Strike. I remember telling Natu like, this is easy, money in the bank, you know. And then when he lost and just did like the semi-finals to your team, I remember just being like, who the fuck are these guys? And he was trying to do that thing where it was like, on the one hand, he was like, look, they were pretty good. But then it was also like, maybe we underestimated them. And all. So I was thinking, like, none of these players are ever going to do it. This is like the biggest fluke of all time. Were you actually a good player at this time? Was this team any good?
Was that the LAN in Czechia?
I think so, yeah. Something like Czech Republic, maybe. Let me check. Yes, it was.
This was with, I think I was in A losers. Can it be?
Oh, yes. Right? So, yes, you're right. Oh, sorry, I got the team wrong. Is that Advanced Online Losers? Yes.
Because I know that this was one of the most important LANs I did. Because as a player, we drove 14 hours. We did not have sleep. We had to play at 9 or 10 in the morning. We paid the trip ourselves. It was our org didn't do anything for us. So it was extremely important, and we had pretty much the same plan as the Finns did. We were pretty good on LAN, and we farmed some events And why was it important? Because we beat them. The number 3 or 4 team in the CPL, and it was extremely important for me as a player. I remember this event because I had scenes on Dust 2 against them where I did 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills, etc.
Right.
And it was like very, very important for me because I always wanted to be a LAN player, you know? I started my career, people thought he is cheating, blah, 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 and I was using Intap and stuff. I was using some config stuff, but I did not cheat. But still, I always had this on my shoulders, and so it was a very, very nice feeling to beat them. And yeah, we had no chance against the Polish team. I remember Zibi was playing there, Luke was playing there. It was like the old school Golden 5. Yeah, and at that time, I think I was one of the best German players, but my style was a little bit like this. I was my value was in getting kills, not more. So this was my style of play. But over the years, I got more experience, more brain, and yeah.
Yeah, also the angle that you say there as well, that's another thing. It's a classic story, to be fair, of anyone who's skilled in the game. If you come up online and you're too good early on, like you have good aim, everyone thinks you cheat, right? Did you go through this a lot? Like in the German scene, did people question you or did it block you from teams initially?
Yes, I was playing like in the EIS, in the amateur league, and I was trialing for POD, for Ping of Death, a team where I knew 2 players, and they wanted to give me a chance, but they didn't believe that I was clean. And I had one trial game of Cobble on Cobble, and I had, I think at that time, 35 kills or something, and I did nothing. I was just waiting and holding stuff, and people were pushing, people were not hitting me, and I was like, fuck, after like 25 kills, I will not get the spot. They will think I'm cheating, and I'm doing nothing. I'm not even playing good. So it was hard a little bit to get some recognition. I was asking mTw because they were searching for a player at that time, and I thought, these players are not that good. You can help them. And in the end, they took Lumit over me. So I don't know. In the end of the day, I had to work myself up, and I love it that it was this way. I did not have connections. I did not have anyone who pushed me or something. It was all on my own. So yeah, you have to be tough a little bit. In the old days, it was like, yeah, you are cheating. Like, this is the first step to get a good player, to be a good player or something. But I did not enjoy it, and I was always like, I have to prove myself on every single time.
And then you also played with Flex, basically in the team that won EPS, right? But you won one of the weird ones where it's like mousesports wasn't that relevant. It was a lot of prize money though.
Yes. Yes. We had the luxury that you can make a living back in the days if you just win the fucking German finals. We had like 2, 3, 4 in the year.
Yes.
We had some LAN events, and the prize money was okay at that time. What was the question?
Basically, like even if it wasn't like you didn't beat like Mouse in the finals, but it's still a big deal to win EPS Germany when you're a young player, right?
Yes. For me, I wanted to win titles. I wanted to make a mark on my in my career, so people know, he was a good player. He did something for the German scene and stuff. So it was always very, very important to me.
Did you, at the time when you're winning tournaments like this and you're getting, like you say, legit prize money, and you can see, could you actually consider yourself a pro? Did you tell people in your life, like, I'm pro now, this is all I do in life? Did they respect it?
It was tough. There were some people who understand it instantly, like, you don't need to talk about it. I know I come from, I don't know, there. I understand it. With my parents, it was funny because they did not really support me till I got the first big check, like 5,000, 10,000 euro. And then my dad went on the EPS finals for the first time, and he saw all the people, and people were cheering for me, were giving me respect. And then he was convinced that it is okay-ish. he took like 1 or 2 more years. He saw me on YouTube here and there. He was like following my career, and then it was fine. But it's all with parents. I think they want just stability. They want money, and if you bring them money, it's like okay. But I had friends who were laughing at me. I had people who were like, "You are nothing. You are just playing all day and stuff." I mean, that's not normal. If you believe in what you do, you don't really care. I did not care. I saw myself not as a pro player. I saw myself as one of the very few people in the world who compete for a living, and this was something I was very proud of.
As you say, obviously the big team that launched you was the alternate attacks team, right? There's a player in this team I want to ask you about because whenever people list off names, it's true in 1.6 a lot of what made people famous wasn't even championships. It was like frag movies or demos or just becoming really popular, like a fan favorite and stuff. So I think what this guy's a mega underrated player. Like if I asked fans now, name German player, they'll never mention this guy's name. It's got to be Moon, the in-game leader, right? Who was this guy? And what was? I know later you got to play with Gobby and some other great players. What was this guy like as a leader?
He was a quiet guy, very calm, very intellectual guy. He was studying mathematics, I think, or something like this. So he had a big brain. But it was not like he was closed and he was like, it's my style or nothing. We influence each other. He learned a lot from me. I learned a lot from him. We had Shevko, who was also strategical mini mind, I would say. Nothing too smart, but it was okay. And I really respected him for that because he was the man in the team. I came in, and my voice was heard by him, you know. And the aggressive stuff, I heard from other people that they said they did invent this shit in the team and he blah 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 blah. Now I can say it. It was all me. It was all me. It was after a prac we got upped when we tried to play nice, normal, blah blah blah, and I said, guys, let's fucking rush every single round till they want to leave the server, and it worked. It was a tilt decision. This is how the style or how we developed a style. I think it was out of tiltness sometimes. And Moon wasn't like, yeah, we cannot do that or something. You cannot do that on land. Blah blah. No, he was. It works. So there must be a reason for it. And he was as a player himself. I love to play with him. He had skills. He was team oriented still, even though he had very good aim, and he was smart. It was not like he goes into a situation that doesn't know how to win the situation. It was something in his mind. Okay, I can do that, and this is a sign of a great player always.
As you say, the style of this team was very unique. It's one of the reasons it was so successful at one point in time, right? What I would say is this is a very contrasting style to what the traditional idea of German Counter-Strike, and especially like German sport, is. It's supposed to be like systematic, like a machine. This person plays this role, slow, you grind people down. It's the opposite style, right?
Yeah, again, when you play like this in prac, sometimes people or the other team said play normally, don't disrespect us and stuff. But to be honest, it's just a technique, and we were not afraid to use it in big matches. I know where we went. I think WEC Dallas 2006. We were rushing NIP on Nuke on CT. We were killing them in their base. Come on. They did not understand what the answer to that style is. The answer is fucking brawl. Fucking brawl, man. You cannot hide. You cannot you have to compare your dicks pretty much. We forced it on them, and it worked. And yeah, it was still a little bit calculated. We had still at some points, okay, we need to do this. This is important. We can get countered by this. So we knew what we were doing, and we were in that area. Probably the only team who had experience, who knew what can happen, and we played it hundreds of times. And yeah, it was different. It worked. I still think it's a weak strat. It's a weak technique. It needs to be timed. But back in the days, people did not expected stuff like this, and they did not think about answers. So this was why it worked.
In this particular lineup of players, it wasn't one aside from people like Moon, maybe, who were super duper famous and considered like people who were going to be the champions. People would have thought this would be a team that will always be behind the mousesports of the world, especially never internationally. You're never going to go and be in the finals of big tournaments like you were. Was there some sort of special chemistry with these 5 players?
Yes. We all had some kind of role, and every player fit the role, I think. For me, it was very, very nice. I could do whatever I wanted to do. I did not have a specific role. I was calling a little bit. I was making strats a little bit, but there was no forcing on doing that shit. I played sometimes like a team player. Sometimes I knew I had to go more for frags. So for me, it was just perfect. People trusted me like crazy. People expected from me to do good, and I like it. I like to be in that position, and we had like very, very nice support at that time. We had a boot camp station. We were there 2 or I would say in 3 months 4 or 5 times. And this was a big advantage for team building, for getting good prags in. We had a fantastic connection there. So it was important that we had the support. And in the beginning of the team, aTTaX sent us to lands on Sweden, here, there, small stuff. And it was very important that we got we did not achieve what we wanted to achieve there. And we had the upsets not in the big tournaments, we had them in the small ones. So even after 1 or 2 failed events we didn't win, they did not say, yeah, you are not making money, blah, blah, blah. No, they had money, they invested the money. So the support from aTTaX was very important as well.
This is the era when, if people are old school fans, they'll know exactly the kind of team structure and country structure that I'm going to talk about, which is if someone was the really big name, so it might be SK in Sweden, obviously mousesports in Germany, there was these teams in different regions. And basically the problem was back then, contracts weren't as big a deal. Players always wanted to play for the best team anyway. And essentially the problem was if you're in a team who's below them and you come up and you beat them, well then, because they're the big dog, they just go, right, which your players are good, we'll just take them to our team. So in this period, everyone knows mousesports actually had sort of like a slump period. They brought in some players, it didn't work out that well initially. And because your team was doing amazingly, I remember there was actually a bit of a scandal around this because they came and signed, obviously, 3 of you guys to come to their squad. But they did it like, wasn't it like you officially agreed publicly before you finished playing the tournaments with aTTaX? So it was a bit like salty because on the one hand, it's like they knew you were going to mousesports, but you still had to play some of the events and your team had been doing really good. And so at the time, it was a bit of a scandal, right?
Yeah, I was maybe the first player who was benched for it, at least here. They did sign me. They later on signed Silva and Tixo. And they signed me on the event I told you about, where we lost in the finals against Complexity, where Fraud completely destroyed us. And the night before, I signed a contract. The thing is, I gave them my word. I will not sign anything till I come back. I was a weak man. I was a weak kid, and I did it, and I got punished for it. And I think it was right. It was a big scandal. I even won 1 or 2 months after the breakthrough of the year, ESL event, something like this, and I was benched. So. It was a little bit of a tough time, especially because we qualified for the WEM finals in New York, where the first prize was a Rolex, and it was always my dream to win a Rolex, always. And it was like in my face, I did a mistake, and I took away my chance to win a Rolex. Yeah, in the end, I won it because everything happens for a reason in life, I think, and I needed to make a mistake like this maybe. I always considered myself a man of principles. This is extremely important to me, and what I did back then, yeah, it is a big mark on me. I don't like it, but I think it was important for me as a man to do a mistake like this. Later on we signed Silver and Silver and Tixo, and the team just went down because I think I was the glue in the team. I was the most important player in the team. I was the MVP when we won the German League. I was the breakthrough of the year. My biggest rival in the year was, I think, Archie from Frenetic. He was playing extremely well. So it was close. I know it. But I still won it. So I had very, very good 6 months. And I don't know, they just didn't believe in themselves, or I think it was more of a, I was the glue between the two guys, Moon and Chefkoch, and Tixo and Tim. Yeah.
When you, as you said, there's a weird detail to this story, which is like something out of a movie, which is because you guys had qualified to this grand finals, which, as you said, was an enormous amount of prize money at the time, and you win the Rolexes. It's in New York, right? The problem was, because the 3 players have gone to mouse, there was a scenario where it's like, well, they can't all just come back. So what happened was, you came back, and then Chucky, who was the manager at the time, but who used to be fair, used to be a pro player, but years and years earlier. And then they had
20 years ago.
Yeah, years what? This is ages before. And then they did have Roman, who obviously was a really good up and coming player. But this lineup makes no sense. Essentially, people don't know this was a lineup for this one event only. Never played before, never played afterwards. And at the tournament, it's all the best teams in the world. It is like Team 3D, Complexity, Fnatic, and Nip. Every team you can think of that year is at this event, and they're all trying to win real teams. So like this must have been something like I say, out the scenes out of a movie to win this event, right?
Yes. 2 years before I did my German stuff you have to do after school, like going to military or doing something else. I did something else, and I had saved enough money to buy a Rolex. Yeah, and I wanted to buy a Rolex, and I said to my parents like crazy, yeah, I will buy a Rolex, and you can do anything because I'm 18 years old, blah blah blah. And my mom said to me, you can't just buy a Rolex, you have to earn it. And it was like, fuck, it's really stuck here, and it was so painful, so I did not buy a Rolex. So for me, it was absolutely like a film. I'm not a spiritual guy. I'm not believing in big things, but I believe in, what's the word?
Destiny or something?
Destiny, thank you. And it was like my chance to win it. And we had 2.5 half days of practice, and I swear to God, I believed in winning it. And my mates knew about the story. I told them at the beginning of the year, guys, we can win a Rolex. We cannot win it. We have to win it for me. And it felt so good. And I always believed in winning the tournament. It was like, yeah, of course. And to be fair, it was stacked. The event was stacked, but the teams were not in the best shape, and I knew it. I knew that some teams were not really practicing for it. It was the last event of the year. A team like NIP, to be honest, they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing to win the event. I did not have respect for them. I thought we have to win against them. They cannot win against us. We really want to win. They want to go home. Let's send them home. And the Chinese teams, to be honest, we played against 1 or 2 Chinese teams. At that time, they lack experience in competing regularly against good teams. And for a smart player like me, they are just snacks, to be honest, because I cannot play them. I know I don't aim too much against them, but I will outplay them every single round. Easy peasy. And if you say, or if you have said you will face, I think it was 3D in the finals.
Yes.
I would say, yeah, come on. They are nothing. I think just against SK, we were the underdog in my eyes. The rest was, we have to win. So it was, of course, a mini surprise. But to be honest, I was there to win the tournament. And I told all of my mates, we can win this shit. This is not like we are the big underdog. No, the other teams are not that good. They are not in shape. Let's go.
Since, as we said, with the whole circumstance of how you left aTTaX and went to mousesports, at the time I remember, because it's almost like it's like if someone goes from Real Madrid to Barcelona in football, like all the fans are going to hate on you for the first year. They're going to be like, oh, fuck this guy, right? Do you think the fact that people obviously at the time were sort of hating on you, did winning this like one title for aTTaX, like in the last thing, do you think that sort of made up for it? Did you feel like it cleared the deck, as it were?
I really had a bad conscience because of what I did. I broke my word. I personally judge men just by their word, nothing else. I don't care what you do, blah, blah, blah. If your word means nothing, you are nothing. And I did that shit. And what I did, when I had my speech at the breakthrough of the year, I tried to thank them. And it was not like blah, blah. I meant it. I was coaching the girls team. They won a big event after I started coaching them. So I tried to do something, and I did not expect anything. And I remember I was in a train going somewhere, and the CEO called me and asked me to play, and I was like, okay, this is your chance for you and even for aTTaX to do something, because we had a great year, but we did not win a single big tournament. And it was like, come on, we were in the finals in the States. In the ESWC, we went out, and you could argue they should have disqualified MIBR, MIBR. And I know we would have won the final. The grand final. I know it. And my chapter was not done. I felt like I had to win something. The German league was just not enough. The team was so good that we deserved to win a big tournament. And at that time, I did not win shit, and I wanted to win shit.
One thing I want to ask you along those lines then, because actually one of the things about people's careers, like if you look at a Wikipedia, it looks really cool that someone comes second and third and you're always in the top four. But I've heard if you talk to pros, like a fan would say, if I could come second 4 times, I'd rather do that than win 1 time only. But a pro would always say, I want to win the 1 time. What's different about winning?
Being second is being the first loser, and we all heard it, but if you are in the moment, you know, it's nothing. Being seconds or being second, it will either you will be in a short time extremely good, and you will be the number 1 in the world, or you will go down like this, like really down in my eyes. It can break you. I did not finish second so much like being in that situation, but losing a final, I still know losing against Navid in Dallas, Arbalet Dallas 2-10. I was playing probably my best tournament ever, and we lost it, and it felt so fucking bad. I finished second several times, and for me, honestly, a grand final is it's like comparing dicks, and my dick is smaller than his, pretty much, because in a grand final, not only the best team wins, most of the time the team which wants it more wins it, and this is like a real true test of your competitiveness. And I know great players who just failed in being competitive. The will was not there, and for me it's like a big thing. Like, you are weak player, you are a weak person. If I want to, I can destroy you. I can play stuff on you, and you will break down. I don't want to be weak, so it's just not good.
When you then went back and were playing with mousesports, on paper, this is like an all-star team in German Counter-Strike. Sure, maybe some of the other names were older, but you had like Blizzard and Gore were super champion guys, been part of this team for a long time. The 3 of you came in for aTTaX. This early period, though, the lineup basically failed, right? It was like these weren't the results you expected. I'm sure you were thinking, this should be an even better team than I was in. I'm going to go to the top, right?
Yes. We had Gore, fantastic player. We had Blizzard, fantastic player. We had me, outstanding player. We had Tixo, machine, and Silver. I think the problem was Silver. We shouldn't have taking him in. He was the first guy to go out. He had problems. For me, I was always the underdog. I was always the foreigner here in this country. I always had it a little bit tougher than other people. So for me, it was fine to be again in mousesports, to prove myself, you know. But for him, it was way more on his shoulders. I think he himself did not believe that he deserved a spot there. I think he knew he came there because he was not my choice. And I was making the team, but in the end, we did not have a lot of choices. I knew him, so we took him in, and he was the wrong player. I think Blizzy at that time should have go to retirement, and like in the later days when he just came back for 1 or 2 events and just won it, I did not think he had the willingness to go really hard. The other two were fine. The biggest problem was me. I was not in a position to lead. I thought I was in a position to lead. I was at best mediocre at best, and to be the leader in a big team, you need to be great. I failed at that. I had an ego about my brain. I thought I knew it all, I understand it all, but I did not. It took me several years to understand really the game. And at that time, I was playing, in my eyes, almost flawlessly. I did not make big mistakes. This was my style. I'm eliminating mistakes, and if people are forcing stuff on me, I have to play. I have to take risk. Okay, but as a leader, I failed, and I think we needed someone. Maybe it could have worked, but I think we needed 1 or 2 other players. I needed more support in the game. The players who were there were not capable of doing it. Yeah, it was just the chemistry was not there, and the leader was not the best.
Because after this, people will know when mousesports, like the good thing about being in a team at mousesports, like I say, is if it ever goes bad, they're going to get the good players in eventually. You're just going to keep changing players till eventually you get enough good ones and the team gets good again. So one of the key moves, even though it took a while to really kick in, was obviously, and people are going to know this part of the story, Gobby and Six came over from a smaller team. So what was the significance of these guys joining? Because I remember, off the top of my head, I think it was something like they went with like a young German team to like ESWC or something. They didn't even go that far, but they just like both were playing really sick, and everyone was like, they were like buzzing about this squad. Like, oh, these guys are really good. So they came into your team. Like, who were these guys when you first met them?
A friend of mine introduced me to Gob like 1 year ago. Before that, and I was like, yeah, he has big ping. He's from Frankfurt. Let's see. I did not believe the hype. He played a good season, and the most important part, we decided to part ways with Silver and with Blizzard at the ESWC 2007.
Yeah.
And Gob was there, and he was playing with ID Gaming as a stand-in, and he was just fucking playing good. And what impressed me so much was he had the fucking energy to stand up, to motivate his guys, to be loud. He was not afraid. It was one of the biggest events for him. It was the biggest event from him, and he was owning it. He was just owning it, and I was like, okay, this guy wants to win. This guy is a true competitor. He is not holding back. Let's go. And it was very, very important that Gob demanded Tony to come to us as well. He was very firm on that, and I was like, yeah, okay, I don't care. We are like here. I don't care anymore. If he trust him, let's do it. It needed a little bit of time because Gob is a loyal guy, and he was playing with his boys from Frankfurt, and we talked a little bit, and I was like, and he did not want to disappoint his friends and stuff, and I was like, bro, this can be your career. You have to think just about you, nothing else. And if you join us, will it help your career? Will it help your goals to be a pro player or not? And he was like, yes, of course. And I was like, you are playing with me. You're not with this. You are learning from me, my man. In the end, he joined, and it was very good that he demanded Six to come as well, who in my eyes, the best German player ever. And it was like, yeah, I did not believe in him or something. I played a little bit against him. He was very, very, what's the word? Frech. He had a big mouth.
Trash talker.
And
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it was a little bit of destiny. I think that I tried to do something big. I failed, and then I had to look in the mirror and think about my mistakes and looking for answers. And a beautiful gob arrived, and I took him.
I always tell people who are CSGO fans, because in CSGO, like, Godby's a legend for what he did in Big and these teams, you know, but it's only for his brain in CSGO. Like, people think, you know, he's the Godfather and all those memes, you know, but I always think it's actually sad because people who are CSGO fans will never know how good Godby was because they only know when he was a brain at the end of his career. But I always tell people in 1.6, he was the brain, and then he also had fucking really good skills. Like, he could top frag the server against top teams, right?
His AK was ridiculous. He was really shooting one shot, not two, not three, just one shot. And I was like, boy, this is a flawed technique. You can't just press one shot, come on. And it worked. It fucking worked. This was his style. He was destroying people. Gob is a fucking great player because he sacrificed a little bit of his own game because he understood that leading the team, making good decisions will help us more than just fragging. And he took away responsibility from other people so they can focus more on their play. And he sacrificed a little bit of his own game. And I think if you even in CSGO, I think he should he had it all. He had nice aim. His brain was nice. It's all good. I don't know. I think he could have done it in CSGO as well, more constantly. He had big games. He had games where he destroyed people, but it was not on a consistent level.
Usually when people make a specific 5-man lineup in history, I've noticed they actually usually get really good if they're going to be really good pretty quick. Like, it'll be like the first 2 or 3 lands, maybe like a couple of months. Like, you can pretty much see like what the potential is. Are they going to be good? Your team had a period where it was still just an okay team. It hadn't quite broken through. And so it wasn't I'm going to say 5-6 months that you go to the next year and you win the Intel Extreme Masters. So why did it take longer to sort of power up with this squad, which obviously then became one of the all-time great teams?
We missed a big thing. We were too proud to use it, which was anti-threading. And it was 11 or 12 days before the IEM event. We had the NGL finals in Berlin, where we failed again against aTTaX, where we placed, I think, 4th again. And I wanted to quit the game. I wanted to quit my career. I was just down. I defined myself a lot, not a lot, pretty much completely about my career, even in real life. And I was depressed. I was down. I was not having fun in my life. And I was like, come on, this is bringing you down. You tried your best. You fucking failed. That's it. You have to quit. Make it with class and not drag it on and bring this great org down with you. And I remember it was a night, a beautiful, calm night, and we were eating dinner at Bali's. And Yilmaz asked us, guys, I told it to Yilmaz, I want to quit. And I know it was a shock from him. His star player, his captain, just wants to quit. What's up? And he asked us to live for this game for the next 10 days. And I said, let's do what all people do. Let's counter-strat. Let's do nothing else. We had in this time, in the 10 days, I don't know, maybe two days of playing. The rest was just analyzing and trying to get answers. For an example, we played against Fnatic on Nuke. Yeah, we knew exactly what map we play against them. We knew it a week before, and we watched their game. Yeah, for the people out there, Nuke was a CT sided map, but Fnatic was good on T side, and we saw what are they doing? They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. They just went outside and were searching for duels. Guys like Forest, Get Right, Ins was a fucking beast. They were searching for kills, and my answer was, guys, we never see what they are doing when they're not getting kills, where they're not getting duels. There is no round where we can see it, which means they are not experienced in that. We can predict what their next steps will be, and we can manipulate them to do what we want to do. And I think they won one or two T rounds, I think, against us, and we won in the end against them. We are not a good team on Nuke. We were not a good team on Nuke, and it was all because we understood how they could win the map, and we took it a little bit away from them. It has nothing to do with we did not aim great or something like this. No. We just outplayed them and knew their weakness. This was all of the preparation. Gob did so much in the event. We decided, because we understood the opponent very, very well, that I get dropped a USP and I go for kills, and it worked out perfectly. I think I was very, very proud of my own performance for that event, because I think I had an average 3 kills per pistol round. And yes, I'm a great aimer at that time. I was at what I think the best pistol player in the world, but we won it because we were prepared, and my team trusted me, and they helped me to play my style in the pistol, which was a very big part of us being the champions of the event. It all clicked there. It was a great event.
That's another event where, like I say, if you were making a movie, this would be another scene. Because as you say, you have the scene before where it's like, maybe I should just quit. And then if people don't know, this event was in Germany. It was at CeBIT. It was at one of those like massive events. So It was one of those ones. It was into Extreme Master. People don't know that was becoming one of the biggest brands at exactly this time. So if you're in a team like mouz and you think I've been letting them down, the best way you could do it is win a massive international tournament in Germany. That's how you turn it around, right?
Yes, there's a picture of me, and you can see that I'm the relaxest at a point at my life. I think it was like, oh, it's all down. Now you can finally enjoy your career because you won a title for mousesports. You're not just a failure in the as a player for the biggest org here. I am playing for myself, but I'm playing for the org I represent. I want them to be proud of me, proud of us, proud of what we do. And this was very important for me. And I always looked up to mousesports, right? It will be always my favorite org, always. And I wanted to give a little bit back, They trusted me, they invested in me. They went through the benching shit with me, and I always respected Django, Yilmaz, great guys, just as persons, I was a young guy, and they were like, yeah, these guys have more morals and stuff. These guys are working, and I want to give them a little bit back. So it was very, very relieving for me. Like, oh, come on, nice. It's all gone now.
Even though you complimented some other players, like you said, Six was the best German player, and Gob had an amazing AK, etc., and some of the other players, right? You were a really fucking skilled player too at this time, right? Like your AK was really strong, like you say, a really good pistol player, Deagle, like you were a really good fragger.
Yes, I started my career as a fragger, but when I was mousesports, before the two guys came in, I had great stats. I was playing the EPS finals, I don't know, on Tuscan, I had 24 kills, I had 26 kills. I was playing against Fnatic, I had over 20 kills. I was destroying them, but we had no chance of winning. And for me, it was like, yeah, you want to perform good. You want to be a star player, but I want to win more. Way fucking more. As a player, I had no flaws. I could play it all. I could play support. I could play first guy in. I could play second guy in. I don't know. I had no weaknesses. I wanted to be a perfect player. And what I understood was taking a step back, not playing the easiest positions to get kills, blah, blah, blah. No, you need to look for gaps. You need to look, what is the opponent playing? What is the answer? I was playing, like as an example, we had on Inferno problems on A. It was a very strong track against us to split A. And the answer, or what I as a B player can do, is to play alone B. And I was playing a lot of times be alone, a lot of this. I try to do stuff like this. I try to be more smart. I try to be more calculated, even more calculated. I invested more time in anti-stratting, in really understanding the intention of what the other team is doing. What are they trying to do? How can we see it in the game without having big informations? What is the answer? When is the time where there is no answer? You have to take risk. You have to do it. And there were like events like 2010, the Arbalete Cup, where I just felt it. I was in the zone. No one could touch me, so I used it. It was a calculated decision. You are in the zone. You can play however you want. You just have to crack them. And this was, I think, this was why I was a great player. I could do it all. And even sometimes I did it like most of the players, just going with your head through the wall, like just go for aim. I always say people like to forget in naming me as a great player in Germany. Look at the events, look at the lineups, which lineups won big tournaments. You will not find one without me in the last years. You will just not. And it's not like of lack of trying. I know what I brought to the teams. I know I was a fucking fantastic player. I say Six is the best player. I think I was the most important player in Germany, because people or teams won because of me. This is something I'm very proud of. I don't know. Maybe my ego is too big. Maybe I'm just blind or something. But the results are speaking for themselves. So
you think ego's kind of important though if you want to achieve a lot, right?
Yeah, I have a big ego, especially when it's competitiveness, but I'm very hard on myself as well. I know what I did wrong. I know there were games where my ego was too big, where I wanted to get an ace, or where I shouted at my mates. And when you want to win, you try to find the best way to motivate your mates and not just bringing them down, for fuck's sake. I could be, or I was mean sometimes. I learned from my mistakes. And another part was understanding the game, which humbled me a lot, which really humbled me. It took like two years to understand the style of Fnatic, for example. I thought they were just stupid. It's a stupid team. They just have good players. That's it. Or good aimers, not even good players. I was trying to find ways to bring them down, And in the end of the day, Fnatic was one of the best teams in the world. They had their own style, and I did not respected it, but it helped me humble to be more humble, because they were shitting on us sometimes, So losing against Navi or against mTw was okay for me, because they are strategical teams, great teams. But I always had I cannot lose against a stupid team, and it took some time to understand they are not stupid. They are smart in their way.
One thing I always liked about this era of the mousesports team as well, when it got being the sixth lineup really got going, was it was also a very balanced team. Like if you think of, funny enough, CS back then was a little bit like CSGO is now, where you have these huge names, Zemu, Simple, and they're supposed to carry every game. They're always the one drop 35 frags. Right? This team was one where like the whole thing is, I always thought this is the reason why actually an underrated aspect. Your team always matched up very well against the mTw team, which was the #1 team of the year, because even though they revolutionized the game and all these tactics, you guys could sort of match them, right? And your team could match them as well.
I think they were the closest to us from their style of thinking. They wanted to have the most control as possible. We both tried to take out of the factor, and yeah, if you are a star player and you have a game where you're not performing well, and you have no backup plans, you have no other ways of supporting your team to winning the game, then it just really feels bad. It just feels so bad. You feel worthless. You just have your aim, nothing else, or what? And this happened to me. That's why, for me, it was always a team effort. I know I cannot expect Six to perform every single game 25 plus kills. It is impossible. People will just have to watch 1-2 games from him, and they just counter him. They're just avoiding him. They don't giving him the chance to win. They use so much stuff, so he cannot have 1-2 good shots. He has no good shot against them. So we understood that very well. Gob as a person is a team person. He does not think for himself, just for himself. He wants everyone to be involved. And this was important that he had the same mindset as me. I did not have the same mindset before, maybe, but I had it through experience. And but still, we understood how to bring like a guy like Six or a guy like me into good situations where we can shine. So I think we had a lot of we had a team-oriented style, but we had still ways to surprise the other team.
This video was kindly supported by Ahmed Hadju, Hades Good, Matt Pugnatio Rakula, Animosity, Butt Pounder 420, Jensen Go, Kovacevic, Ord, Tobias Bernasconi, Tosh, Toucan, and as always, special thanks goes out to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Would you like to suggest a topic or a guest for my upcoming content? Maybe you want to ask a question in my monthly AMA. Would you like teasers to find out who the guests are for upcoming interviews and shows? Maybe you want to take part in one of those lengthy esports discussions with me that can go all over the place. Well, if so, put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrolluminati today, where, in the description box below, there's a Patreon link.